Good afternoon. Today is February 10th, 2022. As I start this town hall presentation, it's important to say, number one, I did not anticipate being here in February, but here I am. As many of you may know, and some of you may not, we had the presidential search underway last fall, and we had a candidate that was right to the finish line, and he had accepted our initial proposal, and at the last moment, elected not to come here because his family would not move to the Wausau area. Didn't have to be Wausau per se. It could be north central Wisconsin. We could go to Marathon, Merrill, we don't care. But it was imperative to us, and one of the main criteria that the individual selected moved to the area. We've had experience before where someone was working 4 days a week, not living in the area, commuting back and forth, and from our perspective, it is required now. But as I go into today's commentary, I have three distinct areas that I want to cover. First will be a brief review of 2021 last year. Second will be a brief preview of 2022 this year. And the third area will be just some general comments that I've elected to make to address what I consider as a tenuous situation. 2021 in review. These will be brief. 2021 was a year of turmoil. Kevin Helmer left, Jim Kemmerling arrived. COVID impacted all of our lives, some much more detrimentally than others. In fact, we've had that loss within our company. COVID was disruptive to operations, and it was disruptive to our customers. We've had supply disruptions. Those have created operational issues. The one that comes to the forefront is epoxy, but we've had other ones. That's become a way of life in our country. Raw materials, we've had price increases, some of them in an area that we've never experienced before. Much higher than what have prevailed historically. Last thing is our profit sharing plan was revised. I'll address that in a moment. How'd we do financially? First 6 months of the year were unprofitable. The company lost money. The second 6 months, we were profitable. Always a good sign. For the year, we were profitable. We did not lose money. We didn't make a great deal of money, but we were profitable, which was, from my perspective, is critical. The bonus plan I referenced earlier, which is the old profit sharing program, that was adjusted to include to basically format a 6-month program. That was for two reasons. Number one, we were unprofitable the first 6 months, so you'd have been swimming upstream and on a traditional process. Number two, it'd coincide with my tenure. As I've communicated monthly to all the participants, to all employees, we anticipate approximately a 2% payout of your 6-month wages. In conjunction with that, we only have one item remaining, that's the audit. We've gone through and made adjustments ourselves as we anticipatory of that audit. In years past, the audit, we've had unfavorable adjustments, some of them as much as $1.5 million, $2 million. This year, we think the proper planning has been done in advance, and so we expect very little, if any, adjustments to our final numbers. That will be a real plus. So in general, 2021 wasn't that bad a year, despite all the adversity we faced. 2022, what's the preview? Well, let's start on a very positive vein. I am not a fan of sales dollars as our primary criteria. However, coming into this year, we have perhaps, from a sales dollar perspective, the highest backlog we've had at this particular juncture of the year as we embark on it. Today, for example, this morning, our backlog was at $28,081,000. That's a record. Now, I will grant that some of those dollars are related to inflationary pressure, but that's a record. Let's stand up and beat ourselves on the chest for that. I thank our sales reps and others for their work there. Indicating that in Paramount today, and just to show that this morning's order entry was 1.7 million. Outstanding. Outstanding. Supplementing that, our number of quotations are up dramatically, which obviously our project managers and others will attest to that. But all of our early indications are that the orders will be following. With a high number of quotes, we anticipate a much higher hit rate. I think the order we got in today, the order entry I mentioned earlier, a segment of that was a $1.4 million order for the state of Florida, and that's and that's the type of thing we need. Regarding our plan for 2021 or 2022, it's not overly aggressive, but it's up significantly from our 2021 performance. As I said, we were slightly profitable. We were profitable. We didn't knock the walls down, but our projection for 2022 is much more positive, and I think we can adhere to it. I'm encouraged. However, I mentioned earlier the raw material price increases. We're going to have to overcome those. How do we overcome? With pricing and performance. We have to price accordingly, and we have to perform to higher standards. Another thing we have to do to achieve that is to eliminate common sense mistakes. Somebody forgets to do something, or they do the wrong thing or something. It's prevalent. Not a high frequency, but unfortunately when that happens, it tends to be a serious impact to us. A negative impact, I might add. I look at 2022 as the foundation for our company's future growth and success. So in that vein, let's focus on the future. Let's not dwell on the past. Where are we going and what are we going to do? First thing in that process is I will be going to the board of directors at the March 8th meeting with a significant capital expenditure request. Probably I'm not sure, I don't know the history, but it will be in the range of $2.8 million. I don't know if that's the largest one other than 1155 or not, but I said I'm not familiar, but it's significant. What is that request for? It is basically geared to grow the company and to increase our profitability. It has to be justified. There has to be an excellent return. We happen to think in our preliminary finding, the executive team, executive managers, we feel that there's a possibility that this could add a couple $1 million a year in profitability. Not the first year out of the gate, but those are the numbers we're looking at. It gives us a pretty good return. Now, obviously, things could change, their projection, but we're going to the board with a presentation that, from my perspective and our executive management team's perspective, will be professionally done. We feel that is critical. We have to put our best foot forward in a professional manner to exemplify the fact that Wausau Tile is back and we're going to grow. In addition, I'll be going to the board also with a new profit sharing / bonus plan. Feedback I've received from many individuals is that you preferred the current format where you see a monthly chart, a graph that will show you the progress. Obviously, early in the year, there's very little progress, but as we build it up and it's accumulated profit, whatever the plan is, it hasn't been finalized yet. The board has to approve it, but you will know as each succeeding month what levels we anticipate achieving. That gives you an opportunity to see, other than in our past, it's just a big black hole and you really had no idea what kind of a bonus you might get at year end. This year it's going to be anticipatory and hopefully it's going to be a good one. I think it is. So we go into our general comments that I intended. I originally intended to convey to you the initial goals that I had established for myself of what I wanted to accomplish. That's changed. You know, I wanted to come back and say, okay, here are my goals. How have we done? What's the progress? Have we achieved those? I've changed that because I felt there's something that's has a higher priority. There are two objectives that I think are very important that we have to attack. Number one, we have to restore company pride. Do we walk around proud to have Wausau Tile on our shirts, our jackets? Are we proud of our company? Do we have a lot of company pride? That's paramount. Without that, it's very difficult to be successful. Second item, it's important to establish a friendly, fun environment. Do we have fun here? Is it fun to come to work? Are people friendly? It's the aspect that, you think about it. You spend more time at work than you do with your families. And therefore it has to be. It's a necessity that you enjoy your comrades and your assignments. Make it fun. As you know, we have the fun committee has been instrumental in establishing this, but we're going to have a company picnic. I don't recall the exact date. I think it's around June 11th, but I'm not positive. But I know, and I think that message has gone out. Additionally, we're going to have 2 cookouts. One cookout, and the dates and the months, I'm phasey on that. I'm recollection is May and September, October, but I'm not positive. Those cookouts are going to be for all of our employees, and the chefs are going to be the executive management team, along with our board of directors. They're going to be the ones flipping the burger. They're going to be the ones serving you. And I think that's a tradition that has been going on in other places many years, and that's one that should be established here. Company picnic, by the way, that's going to be a family affair. There's going to be food, fun, games, and it's great. I think the fun committee's done an outstanding job in getting those things rolling. Well, those are nice goals, but in fact, what is reality in our company? You probably aren't going to like this. But as many of you know, I've been associated with many companies during my career. And all those companies, never have I encountered such a poisonous, cancerous, negative environment as I see at Wausau Tile. We have rumors, innuendos, criticism, backstabbing, grudges, personal vendettas, individual agendas, shouting matches. Not all of you operate in that manner, but we have some, and it permeates throughout the organization. How did this environment develop? I'm going to be very blunt. I don't care. Once again, let's focus on the future. But I'm determined that it doesn't continue in the future. If we allow that to continue, that's the demise of our company. And that is not the direction I want this place to go. During the last 12 months, we've had several good of our employees depart Wausau Tile. During my tenure here, and when they left, I've had the opportunity to meet with all of them, or at least the vast majority of them, prior to their departure, to try to get an understanding of why they left. Practically to a person. The common theme is incredible how common it is. Why did they leave? Why? The way people are treated by others in this organization. There's a lack of respect for them individually or for their job. And there's all too much BS that exists throughout the company. That's a little disconcerting because it hasn't been from one area. They've been departing from throughout different segments of the company, excuse me, which indicates to me that there's a prevalence an underlying theme that has permeated the entire organization. And you can go by the 80-20% rule. 80% of our employees are dedicated, loyal, committed to Wausau Tile. 20% have the grudges, the things I alluded to earlier. But the bottom line is this environment has to change and has to change promptly. During my watch, those issues and attitudes are not going to be tolerated. These comments are intended to put each one of you on notice, effective immediately. Let me repeat that. To put each one of you on notice, effective immediately. And personally, I don't care if you've been here 2 months, 2 years, 20 years, 30 years. The seniority is not an issue. If I receive any indication of unacceptable behavior toward another individual employee, rest assured, you and I will have a conversation, and I can guarantee you, you won't like it. Let me repeat that. I don't care if you've been here 2 months, 2 years, 20 years, 30 years. Seniority is not going to be a criteria. If I receive any indication of unacceptable behavior by you towards another employee, whether it be individually or regarding their job performance, you can rest assured you and I will have a conversation. And as I said, I can guarantee you won't like it. There's another subject that's bothered me. The unprofessional image we portray to ourselves and to our visitors here in the office via our physical appearance. Way too frequently, we have individuals dressed like we are at home or we're going to a picnic. Way too casual. This is a business environment. We should be professional in that environment in all phases. What I really is different, we can't force it, but we can certainly set some guidelines out, and we will. I'll be asking HR to set out some guidelines. We used to do this in the past. It's a aspect of our operation that I'm not happy with lost, but I want to reinstitute it. Obviously, you can't afford it. It's difficult to enforce. We want to go back to business casual from Monday to Thursday, with Friday indeed being a casual day. That's the way it is. That's the preponderance of how businesses operate in today's environment. When we're sloppy, our work tends to be sloppy. And it's granted, that's kind of a subjective performance appraisal. But from experts throughout and from my personal observations, there's a direct correlation to company performance related to how the employees present themselves. We have to do a much better job, and I expect this. I'm embarrassed at times when we have visitors, customers, or vendors, and walk through our office and see how we are dressed very inappropriately from my perspective. In conclusion today, my previous comments are not designed to be a threat, not at all. They've been communicated in building the foundation, once again building a foundation for a company that's had an outstanding, an outstanding tradition and has the potential to achieve greatness once again. I will repeat that. A company that has an outstanding tradition and has the potential to achieve greatness once again. However, it's important to recognize that without individual respect and teamwork, the trend will be downward. From my interaction with the vast majority of you, you are good people, good employees, and you conduct yourself in a very respectable manner. However, what I alluded to previously about all the nuances and all the things and why people have left, It's important that you realize that it's not going to be tolerated. And the burden is on each one of you and us collectively to act accordingly. With that, I thank you for your efforts, your contribution. We have a cadre of great people in this company. We have to build upon that. As I said, it's an attitude that's permeated our organization, and it has to stop. Like all phases of our operation, I have confidence in you as individuals and as our company to overcome this negative connotation. With that, I wish you all outstanding success. Good luck in 2022. As I, once again, from my perspective, it is the foundation as we leap forward into a great, I look for the next decade to be very outstanding for Wausau Tile. At one time, we were one of the premier industries within the community. Let's regain that footing and that reputation. It's on us, and I think we have the talent to get that done. With that, I thank you very much for listening and look forward to the next few months working with you. Thank you.